Welcome back to the King Films NCAA Men's College Basketball Conference Tournament predictions for 2022. And here we go with the SEC tournament. Let's start out with the first round with the 12-13 matchup. Mizzou against Ole Miss. I'm going to go with Mizzou here, but I could see this one going either way. Both of these teams only have a handful of wins in the SEC all season, so I won't keep the chatter up for them. And then we've got Vanderbilt against a slumping Georgia team. And Georgia has always had misfortune, but I think this might be their worst conference season in years and years. And while they did have that magical run in 2008 where they came from just about the 14 seed and won it all, I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think that Vanderbilt will be able to win this game as they have been the better team throughout most of the SEC season. Now let's get on to the second round where we have some enticing games. You've got number 9 Florida, who is chasing a spot in the tournament. They're on the edge of the bubble, but are not in the tournament right now after their loss to Kentucky. I think they're going to need a couple rounds of wins here, including one over Auburn, in order to secure their place in the tournament. But that being said, I'm going to have a Texas A&M team that started very hot in the season. Granted, they did not play many good teams in the non-conference, but now they've got a 6 or 7 game win streak in the SEC against just the decent competition, and Texas A&M has really turned their season around. They're playing great basketball right now, whereas Florida is just kind of playing okay basketball. Obviously, they got the upset win over Auburn at their home floor and have played very well on their home floor, but what they do against this mid-tier competition puzzles me a bit, so I'm going to take Texas A&M here, but I think this one will be very close. I could see it going either way. 5 LSU against Missouri. I think that LSU will recognize that they do need this win just to avoid a bad loss, just to secure whatever seed they have right now. I've got them between the 5 and 7 lines. We'll see what happens to them depending on their SEC tournament positioning, but I've got LSU winning over Missouri here. And then Mississippi State against South Carolina. And this 10-7 matchup is a little bit of a misnomer, as there's a 4-team stack up that South Carolina is in at 9-9 in the SEC. But South Carolina is getting the nod at one of the top spots of that. So I think Mississippi State here is a really good call, and I'm going to take them after what I saw when they were playing Auburn just a couple days ago and took them to overtime. Of course, that was on their home stadium, which is very hostile environment and favorable to them, but I think on the neutral site here in Tampa Bay, they can get it done to send them to the quarterfinals. Then Vanderbilt against Alabama. I know Alabama loses to some bad teams, but I think that they're going to be able to take care of Vandy here. I could again see this one going either way, and I think that there will be one marquee upset in this SEC tournament, but I'm not really sure where it's going to come just looking at the bracket, so I'm going to have Alabama here. In the next round, I'm really tempted to pick Texas A&M over Auburn, given that Auburn has been slumping recently for their standards, and Texas A&M has been red hot, one of the hottest teams in the SEC. But that being said, I just don't think that they have the firepower on either offense or defense to keep up with Jabari Smith and this Auburn team. We've got an enticing 4-5 matchup, LSU against the Hogs, and I'm going to take Arkansas here. I just think that even though they've lost a couple of games on the road here over the past 4 or 5 weeks, I think Arkansas is still one of the hotter teams in the nation, and I'm going to have them beating LSU in this game. And then Tennessee, another team that I think is very hot and has beaten the marquee opponents down the stretch, especially at home. Give me Tennessee over number 10 Mississippi State here. Now, this is an interesting matchup for Alabama in the 6-3 game against Kentucky, because many will be picking them to gain this upset just because if they are able to beat lowly Vanderbilt, there's no reason that they can't beat the best of competition as long as they avoid the first round upset. But I'm going to have the Wildcats here. I think that this is the one team in the top 4 that Alabama would not beat, because Alabama's shown it against the other 3, but they haven't really been close to Kentucky in the 2 games they played against them this year. That being said, I'm going to have a chalk 3rd round here in the SEC tournament. On to the semifinal round, and we've got a marquee matchup of Auburn against the Razorbacks, and for the reasons I stated earlier about why I was going to pick Auburn to get upset in the last round, I'm going to pick the Hogs to win this game. I still think the Hogs are hot, as I've said before. I think they can take down Auburn here in the semifinal, and their opponent I've got Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee did split with Kentucky, but I like how things are trending for them. And even though Kentucky's win at Florida in this past weekend was a very impressive one, I'm still going to take Tennessee, but honestly, I could see this going either way. And that being said, I think that the winner of the 2-3 matchup will win the tournament, whether it's against Auburn or Arkansas. I think that the winner of the 2-3 matchup, assuming that happens, will be the winner. So that being said, I'm going to have Tennessee. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to comment your predictions for this tournament below and stay tuned for more college basketball conference tournament content.